Hey guys, JC here. Alright, as you can see I have a notepad and a pen. We're going to talk about building your own fortress for the zombie apocalypse. This one is actually a simple plan, but takes time and energy, and if you have several guys, you're going to have a better chance. I'm not trying to insult any women out there. It's just a common fact that men are generally stronger than women, so it would be better for this because it is just a bunch of heavy lifting and moving and stuff like that. But I have known several women that can do this stuff pretty easily. But let's just go ahead and move on. In fact, you're going to need several people. Okay. Now, let's say a lot of people, for instance, will want to stay in their homes. That's fine. That's great. That's dandy. But obviously, we all understand that the problem with staying in a home, for the most part, is that the majority of homes don't have much more than maybe a fence going around the backyard, and occasionally maybe like a steel gate, maybe a 4 or 5 foot steel gate in the front yard, that kind of thing. So you're kind of limited on your protection, and obviously things like that. A gate would hold off a couple of zombies here or there. Steel fence would do the same, but if you were ever to have a horde, or I guess a herd of zombies ever attack, you want this thing, you want your place to be fortified to the point to where they're not going to come in. Because a herd of zombies would knock down a steel gate, they would knock down a fence. So let's talk about something that they can't knock down, they can't penetrate, they can't climb over, which obviously zombies for the most part won't be able to climb over something unless it's at least right around the midsection belly button or so, just so that they can kind of fall over, not really climb over. Okay. So let's talk about. I'm using my parents' house as an example, just because they've got some open land. Not a ton. It's not much. It's not quite an acre, but a lot of it is open, and so in my mind, it'd be a great place to set up a wall or something like that, so that you could. You'd have free space inside to where you can actually move around, you're not feeling real confined, plus you have the house, and then the wall actually, you could make posts at it. Once you've actually built the wall, you can make posts inside the wall that you can actually stand up on and look out outside of the wall. Okay, so here's my idea of a really good idea for a wall, is a cinder block wall. Obviously, everyone knows that cinder blocks are, just concrete blocks that have 2 holes in it. Kind of has like the look of a domino. Cinder blocks are 8 inches wide by 8 inches tall by 16 inches long. So knowing that fact, if anybody would ever try and take a guess at how many cinder blocks it would take to surround your property, you can actually do this very simply by just doing a little bit of calculation. In this, I'm actually cutting out a lot of my parents' property. I'm actually saying that we're only talking about 100 feet wide by 100 feet back. So we're talking about 10,000 square feet. Well, an acre of land is 43,650 square feet. It's right around that range, give or take a few feet. So this is not quite, or it's a little bit more than a fifth of an acre, 10,000 square feet. So in this kind of a situation, we would go by the 100 feet by 100 feet. So that would cover the entire front of their house, entire back of their house, and then each side, giving us a fair amount of land. 10,000 square feet is not a ton, but it's definitely reasonable. And at that point, once you actually get the first wall up, you could actually continue it further on. Okay, but let's go ahead and just go with the 10,000 square feet. That's 100 feet by 100 feet, as we've described. Now, in 100 feet, there's 1,200 inches, obviously. So you're talking about needing 1,200 inches worth of cinder block going across. Well, if cinder block is 16 inches, then we've got 1,200 inches divided by 16 inches, which brings you to 75 cinder blocks. So you're going to need 75 cinder blocks to get the bottom row of one of the 4 walls going along. So obviously, for just the bottom row to go all the way around, you're going to need 300 cinder blocks. That will surround the bottoms. This is literally an 8-inch tall wall now, once you get all those around. Now, obviously the question comes in as to how are these things going to stay stuck to the ground? Well, that's an excellent question. At this point, we're going to talk about wood. Treated 2x4s or even 4x4s are excellent. I would recommend 2x4s because they're going to give you the stability and actually cut down your costs. If you're trying to do this, before the zombie apocalypse occurs. If you're trying to do it afterwards, you're going to be a lot more pressed for time, and you're obviously going to have the issue of having zombies around, which is why, in that kind of situation, I would recommend having several other people there, because you can have 2 to 3 people working on the wall while you have another 2 people at least guarding you, protecting you. So cinder blocks generally cost, at least here in Texas, cinder blocks cost about $1.46 a piece. So I mean, let's just talk about, if $1.46 a piece. I'm just going to go ahead and write that number down, and I'm going to save that for just a little bit. As soon as this thing gets me ink, there we go. $1.46 a piece. Okay. Now 2x4s. Now, whenever you have cinder blocks going across, let me just go ahead and draw you a quick. This is going to look really crappy, guys, so just bear with me. You have your cinder blocks going next to each other. So, instead of having, and obviously everyone knows that there is going to be there's going to be a hole in the cinder block in this area on the top. You've got your, you got a hole right here and a hole right here. This is just obviously a very rough idea of it, but you got a hole right there and a hole right there. You got it all going all the way around. Well, these holes are big enough for 2x4s to fit in. So, instead of having one here and one here, you have one here, one here, one here, one here, and one here, in the first hole of each one. If you have the cinder blocks butted up against each other well, you're still going to get the stability out of it without having to buy as much wood. So you need one for every other cinder block. Well, obviously you need 75 cinder blocks going across one, so divide that by 2, and roughly you're looking at about 37, maybe 38 posts to be safe. I would recommend 38. So you need 38 posts for one wall, which means going all the way around for 4 walls, you need 120, about 152 pieces roughly to go all the way around the whole place, which makes sense. You got 300 pieces, you get 152 will give you half that. But I would actually, yeah, I'm sorry. No, that's correct. Okay, so 2x4s, you generally want to probably get about a 12-footer. Well, no, 10-footer. Go for 10-foot. Because what you want to do is you want to be able to get it about 4 feet into the ground, leaving 6 feet sticking up that you can put the cinder block over. So, treated 2x4 here, about a 10-footer is just over $5. So you're looking at $6 a piece. Let's just say $6 a piece. So we're counting in tax and everything. So cinder blocks, $1.50 a piece. Wood, $6. So you need. The good thing about the wood is that once you have the first star going around, you're pretty good. So let's look at that, and we're saying, okay, we need 152 pieces of wood going at $6 a piece. 152, which is going to be 300. 900, so about 9, no, I'm sorry, I'm counting this completely wrong, I'm being an idiot. Okay, you need 152 pieces going all the way around, which you're looking at less than $1,000 worth of wood. You're looking at about 912, 913, whatever you're kind of looking at there. But let's just go ahead and say wood is going to cost you $1,000 whenever you add all of tax and everything. Obviously, we're kind of overshooting, but that's what we want to do. Now we're going to talk about cinder blocks. Well, obviously you have to have 300 going all the way around. Well, now let's talk about the height of the wall. I'm 6 foot. I'm 5'11", and a half, whatever. I'm about 6 foot. With my arms stretched up all the way as high as it can, I can reach about 8 foot. On my tippy toes, I can reach about 8 foot. So let's just go ahead and assume that you're not talking about dealing with a 13-foot zombie. You're dealing with a standard 6-foot zombie. Well, zombies don't have a ton of upper body strength, so you're not going to see zombies climbing up your wall, and you're not going to see that. So 8 foot, something just out of their reach. They're not going to be standing on their tippy toes. They're going to be standing there slamming on your wall about right here. So you're looking at about an 8 foot wall would give you really good protection. Well, if you have a cinder block is only 8 inches tall, in order to get 8 feet up, you need 12 cinder blocks. So 12 cinder blocks up is going to be, what are we looking at? 300 times 12, which is going to be 3,600 cinder blocks, roughly. 3,600 cinder blocks will get you all the way around. Well, obviously, $1.50 times 3,600 is a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. And for all of you guys who have calculators and stuff, you're awesome. I'm not. 33, 6, 9, 0, 0, 0, 8, 6, 4. Okay. 0, 6, 1, 6, 5. Okay, so you're looking at about $5,600 or so, right around that range to get your cinder blocks. So now we're talking about $6,600, $6,616 or so. That's for the cinder block and the wood to go all the way around your place and to get you fortified. Now you obviously are going to have concrete. You're going to have to surround the thing with concrete. And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to continue it in just a minute, okay?